Okay, hi everybody. Dr. Mary Rensel here with Dr. Rashmi Schramm. Nice to see you.
It's great to see you. Thank you so much.
So you are a doc and you're a coach, and you help people experience mindfulness in their coaching. Tell me more. Like, how did you get into this?
Yeah, I do. I'm a meditation teacher and a mindfulness teacher. And so it's one of my favorite things in the world. And really, I got into it several years ago because I was, personally myself feeling a lot of the effects of kind of chronic stress. And so I was feeling really overwhelmed. I was feeling overworked, and I was beginning to suffer with some physical symptoms as well, some GI issues, and daily migraines, difficulty sleeping. I mean, kind of we all have either known someone or, certainly have experienced this. My kids were really little. And so as time went on, I just started to get worse and worse. And eventually, because I really couldn't tolerate a lot of the medications that I was trying, I tapped into meditation, which I had tried a little bit in college and hadn't done at all for, 15 years or something. And as I started to dabble in that, initially it was really because I saw some data that showed how significantly improved people were with migraine headaches with meditation. I started to look at that. And in fact, it did help me with my migraines, but it also helped me sleep better. And it also just, it was sort of like the snowball effect that kind of kept going. And so when I found sort of a group to meditate with, and when I found a meditation teacher, it really started to go deeper for me. And that's how I got started. And that's why wonderful. I do what I do. Yeah.
Right. What a tool. I love that tool that people could tap into. What do you think is the best way to learn it? In a group or like with a coach, or what do you think? What do you recommend for folks?
There are so many apps out there right now, especially if anyone is interested in meditation. I think they can start there. Calm, there's Insight Timer, there's of course Headspace. There's so many good ones. Chopra also has an app. That's always for me like a kind of that's what I generally recommend for folks, particularly patients if I'm seeing them and I don't have very much time. And so that's a great way to dip your toes into things, right? But obviously, if you want to make that a daily habit, then I think finding either a group or finding a teacher, that's really where the daily habit can be established. And then you can really just take off from there. And so that's why I teach meditation to groups as well as I do one-on-ones as well.
That's so neat. Yeah, that's very neat. So your coaching always includes meditation?
It usually includes at least some aspect of meditation. And so the folks who are coming to me sort of already know that, but there's never anything dogmatic about it. And there's never anything that's forced. It's just in my coaching package. And so I have never had anyone not take me up on it yet.
Yeah. And I think it's something like, do you think people have to do it every day, or what do you recommend for folks? Meditation.
Yeah. If you look at the studies, when you start to see the real benefits of it, it's really an everyday thing, right? Like, you know this about new habits. And so what I tell them is, it can be 5 minutes a day, but it really does need to be every day, at least initially.
Right. I love the habit book say like, you can miss one day if you have to, but don't miss 2 days. Cause then all of a sudden you're like, well, now I'm not a meditator anymore. Like you have to identify like, I'm a meditator. Like you just even say it. If you don't even believe it, just say it. And your brain will be like, oh, we're meditators now. Now I meditate, So there are some tricks to getting yourself into some new habits, which I think is great. Like to identify as that, because what does a meditator look like? I suppose we all have preconceived notions. It's probably anyone could do it, right? Yeah.
That's right. It's for everyone.
And any age. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. And I love those tools that don't really require a lot of tools or anything. You can do it without anything, right? You could do it if you have a phone or not. You could just, even if you don't have an app, you could just sit and relax and
that's it. Centered. You just need two things is what I teach them. You need to sit down and you need to close your eyes. That's it. That's literally, those are the only two things you need.
Nice. And there's no wrong way. Is that fair?
There's no wrong way. There's no wrong
Yeah.
way. I mean, I teach two really easy ways to meditate, right? Because when it becomes effortless for people, that's when we know that it's sticky for them, and that's when it's fixed. And so it's sometimes helpful to invest some time initially to dive into a kind of a proven, centuries long method that you can kind of slipstream into. But there's no wrong way to meditate. That's exactly right.
I love it. Okay. So gosh, it helped you with, your feeling, how you felt physically and mentally and energy probably. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And, and then I bring in a discussion of spirituality because as a holistic coach, I talk about mind, body, spirit in the context of environment. And that's really what Ayurveda is as well. And, I used to shy away from even talking about spirituality because a lot of people assume that it means religion. And, what I explain to people when I ask them these questions or when we're trying to explore it is really, are they feeling connected? Is there a higher sense of purpose? And that can really bring us a lot of joy and love and peace in our lives if we live with a particular spiritual connection that's right for us. And so, yeah, I think mind, body, spirit, and my environment benefited for sure and still continue to benefit.
Especially the kids. Oh, I can only imagine how cute they are meditating, right? Right.
Oh, yes. Well, I have teenage girls. They're 14 and 16, and
They've
they will
grown up, right?
meditate exactly when they
Yeah.
want to meditate, which
Right.
is not when their mom wants them to meditate. And so
That is normal.
the teenage brain is going to just be the teenage brain. And and I just give them a lot of space and a lot of love and no judgment and, know that they're going to come around. I mean, they've definitely meditated with me multiple times, but if I start to expect it, no.
So give people some room, but they're going to do it, and be a good model. We know that they're watching. Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, thank you for all that you do, and stay well and keep at it. This is good stuff.
Thank you.
Okay. We are here to talk about the all-important emotions. Dr. Schramm, will you please help us? Can you give us 3 tips on how we can either modulate or process emotions with your wonderful meditation and your skills that you know as a coach?
Yeah, this is very much so a learned behavior for me because I really grew up sort of cringing at even the word emotions and spent many years cringing about emotions or patients having emotions. And so please don't think that this is how I've always been. This has been very much so a learned sort of thing for me. And what I do and what I've seen to be successful in others as well is number one, to just feel the emotions, right? Like I feel like most of the time, people just become accustomed to and somewhat fear their emotions to a certain degree. And then we do all kinds of things to avoid them, like everything, just keeping too busy. We can eat our emotions. We can, drink our emotions. We can do all kinds of things with them. So really the first thing is not to run from them, is to really sit with them. And that can be the most powerful thing ever, because then it really starts to diminish a little bit of their power when you bring some awareness into them. And it's important to know that these emotions aren't fake, they're real, but trying to make them go away doesn't just make them go away. And so some ways to process them, when you do bring it up into awareness, yes, I think meditation is very helpful for that, for sure, because I really think of meditation as the antidote to stress and an antidote to the constant, sort of worry, cycle that we can get ourselves into. But I also think breath work is really, really important too. And so even just learning just belly breathing, if you don't already, and even just like a 4-4-4 breath, that's always really important. And then actually visualizing, especially if the emotions are feeling toxic, is to visualize yourself letting them go, with the exhalation, I try that a lot as well, especially if it's not serving me at all, once I've actually felt all of them. And that can help you diminish it. And then movement is incredibly helpful. So you might catch me dancing something out in private. You know, I go outside. I don't dance outside, but I do go outside. Just spending time in nature, and really just movement can be really, really, really important as well. So I think I may have given you 4 tips, but
I know there's lots of tips, really very useful. And again, we don't really need any tools for any of that, right? We're already breathing. So just adjust your breathing to modify it. I love that. Even just a wiggle, something, some kind of movement, take a walk, anything that does tend to shift our emotional state. I love that. So these are all tools that we could do even in a day that you have things planned. These are not things that take too long. Sometimes literally, like you said, just writing them down, saying, yeah, and it gives them less power, I think, when we do stop and feel them. I did read something that they recommended, writing 3 emotions 3 times a day to kind of see how your day goes, and maybe a pattern in your days, like over the week's time. And I think, when people had said, the people I was coaching had commented, like, it just deflated them, the emotions, they were less scary. Because some people say, hey, I don't want to open that closet. I don't know what's in there. I don't even want to go in the emotion area. So I think those are great. Thank you for your tips. Now, where can people find you if they want to know more about you?
So I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Dr. Rashmi Schramm, and I'm also on YouTube as well. I'd love to get to just work with as many folks as want to work with me.
Love it. So many skills, so many helpful skills. Okay, Dr. Rashmi Schramm, find her Instagram, Facebook. All right, everybody, go meditate.